Another Monday comes, and the Extra Point is back. Welcome to the Extra Point here on WEG on 91.1 FM, online at WEGFM.com, or live on Twitter. I'm running the board today, Jared Dillard, and from left to right is Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. Guys, how's it going today? Carter, you first.
It's going all right. Got a very interesting Super Bowl last night for sure. Set a new record for the lowest points scored. So halftime show was very interesting, and all around it was a good night last night and a good morning this morning.
You say good night, but I don't think I agree with you on that one. You may have been one of the few people who wanted the Patriots to win. What about you, Jacob?
Well, I will say the halftime show was interesting, and I was one of the few that kind of liked it. Could have been better, but it was definitely the most interesting part of the game. I mean, I'm all for defensive slugfest, but that was all just bad offense. So Super Bowl was okay, but
Jack?
Yeah, well, good morning, gentlemen. And while the Super Bowl was not as we hoped it would all go, I did have a great time watching it with all my friends, and that's why they play them. So happy to look into it.
That was very wholesome of you.
Thank you, Jared. That's why I'm here.
The Super Bowl's come and gone, and for another time, the New England Patriots are your Super Bowl champions. And I feel I heard the sigh come out of you, Jack. In what was a very was it boring? Is that the right word to say? Was it a boring Super Bowl?
Uninspired is my word.
I like that.
Uninspired?
I do like that. It didn't seem like the teams, they obviously wanted to be there, but the way they played, it did not seem like it. So,
Well, I'm really gonna slightly disagree with the fact that maybe they were uninspired, because you had two great defensive performances out there, especially by the Patriots. And I don't know about y'all, but I think Stephon Gilmore definitely got robbed on MVP, because his game was insane.
You know, if Julian Edelman didn't have the game that he had, you can make a very good argument for somebody on the defensive side of the ball to get MVP. And if you're a fan of defensive games, yesterday was the game for you. I just think that when you have a defensive slugfest between the Rams and the Patriots, and then the shootout that could have been in New Orleans, Kansas City, I just think that, you know, this day and age, you're going to want the shootout. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest surprise for me is how the Patriots secondary just made the super talented Los Angeles wide receiver core just a non-factor. I mean, I can't even, think of a play that went for 30 yards that wasn't Todd Gurley on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and Todd Gurley did not play a lot. I know that he didn't play much in the national championship. What am I talking about?
I mean, he played a lot in that one.
I know he didn't play a lot in the NFC championship game because he was hurt. And then, I mean, honestly, they couldn't get C.J. Anderson going either. I mean, the running game just was not there for the Rams. And I think, I think Tony Romo said it best. Gosh, don't even get started on Tony Romo.
Oh.
I'd marry that man right now.
Poetry in motion.
Tony Romo said it perfectly. The Rams are a play-action team, and when they took away the run, it was over. Jared Goff can't win the game on his own, and it showed. He was a very he looked like, that was his, he's in his third going on to his fourth NFL season, and it looked like he was back to his rookie season in that game.
Well, Belichick and the Patriots did a classic thing that they always do, and they had an insane, defensive game plan for the Rams, because you had, at one point in the game, Goff had 30 times that he dropped back to pass, and he was, hit 8 times, sacked 4 times,
Something
and hurried
like that.
12 times? They got so much pressure on Goff, and from the get-go, he just never looked comfortable back there.
yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that was the key to why Jared Goff played, honestly, really terribly. He never really got it going. I mean, he missed that Brandon Cooks wide open touchdown, and it seemed like he was just uncomfortable back there and wouldn't let the ball go. So I do think, to credit the Patriots, that is the reason Jared Goff is not comfortable. And I think we'll see maybe next year that Jared Goff isn't quite all that as a quarterback. that might be a hot take, but I think a lot of people might agree that Jared Goff isn't that great of a quarterback, and he might
Warmed me up over here.
I mean, look no further than that stretch of games, I think, in November against, I think, the Bears and the Eagles that the Rams had, where they were just putrid on offense and they couldn't get anything going. They dropped that game at home to the Eagles, where they only scored, I think, 13 points. And, I mean, look no further than that to see how easy it is, if you have the talent and the right game plan, to shut down this, like, amazing Rams offense. You just got to know which switches to flip.
Well, in that stretch, you had that O-line that's supposed to be the best O-line in the NFL right now. They struggled in that stretch, and they struggled last night. And when that O-line starts to struggle, that entire offense falls apart.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Super Bowl is all about, the grandeur, the spectacle of it, right? It's the game. I know if there's any Army Navy fans out here, then I just stepped on their toes. But it's the big game, right? Millions upon millions of people tune into this game, and I think the lackluster performances, or the lack of fireworks, and then Patriot fatigue is an actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to watch the Patriots anymore,
especially for the casual fan that only watches the Super Bowl. I mean, they probably weren't too happy with 3-0 going into halftime and
I wasn't happy.
I mean,
I live and breathe football.
And then thinking about another Patriots championship, what that does for the sport.
Here's the thing that I also want to get off my chest, okay? Where did this narrative come from that the Patriots are an underdog?
Thank you. Because this whole week, I've been saying that. I cannot stand when Edelman was really the one buying into it. And I was just like, man, y'all are 2.5 point favorites. That moved to 3 before the game. But I know a few people that's haters that are really hammering on the Patriots that, the dynasty's going to be over after this. But as they all say, you can't listen to the haters. And the haters aren't really thinking that the dynasty's over. They know that the Patriots are still a great football team, that Belichick still has it, that Brady still has it, even at 41. So really, that's just them saying what they want and not really what they think.
I think that's a lot of that sentiment comes from how weak the Patriots looked down the stretch. I mean, they looked so vulnerable, and then they just came out against the Chargers in a way that no one was expecting. I mean, their passing game was probably the worst it's looked in all of Brady's tenure, maybe since that injury 10 years ago. And the Patriots looked so vulnerable, and I think people were so willing for this to be the year that they get knocked out, maybe in the divisional round, that this narrative just started and stuck its way just because there was so much talent. I think a lot of people were happy with the 10 teams that got into the playoffs. It felt like anyone's game, and the fact that it came down to the same old teams as always really left a bad taste in people's mouth, I think.
I really agree with that. Well, in that stretch where they were struggling, they had injuries all over the place. I mean, Michelle and Burkhead were out for long stretches of the year where you had a receiver who's 6'3", 220, and they just threw him back there one game and just let him run. And then you had Gronk, who was banged up for most of the year. And there's always that Tom versus time argument that at some point time's going to have to catch up to this guy, unless last night was his chance to just walk off into the sunset, but he said no, he's coming back for more. So you're going to have this when the Patriots hit that rough stretch next year. At some point they will. You're going to have this exact same argument that, the dynasty's over. The Patriots can't do it. Tom's too old. And then we're going to have that every year until either Tom actually walks off into the sunset or the dynasty actually comes to an end.
Yeah. Once again, if you have any questions you want to ask us, you can ask us on Twitter on the live stream, or you can call in at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345, and we'll answer your questions, whether it's a phone call, whether it is on the live stream about the Super Bowl or about anything sports related. I just want to get into people aren't calling the Patriots underdogs because they are. They just don't want them to win anymore, right?
Exactly.
And that's not a knock against the Patriots. Look, I know this is the last time I'm going to see something like this, right? Maybe in my lifetime, a dynasty like this. I just don't like you. I guess is what I'm trying to say to the Patriots.
I'm with you.
And I just want to see somebody else.
Could it be the city of Boston as a whole? Because look at the Red Sox. The Bruins 1-1. The Celtics 1-1. All in this stretch.
The Celtics, we talk about, the Warriors. The Celtics, don't forget about back, in the day when they won how many championships? 8 in a decade.
Bill Russell finished with what? 10?
I'm pretty sure people hated them back then too.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Warriors now. People want to see the Warriors fall. Mm-hmm. People don't like the Yankees because they believe they can just buy anybody and win anything. Granted, I think that we've seen that not work out for the Yankees in the past couple of years. But, when people don't want to see you win, they'll let you know. And I think people just didn't want to see the Patriots to win again.
And I think a lot of this, anti-dynasty hate just comes from the fact that, the NFL is structured for parity. I mean, you have your reverse draft order, you have your salary caps, you have the fact that all the money the league makes gets split 32 ways. I mean, the Patriots are getting just as much money to build their team as the Jets and the Bills are. It's just they're somehow able, year after year, despite playing their tough first-place schedule and getting their high draft picks, they're still able to manufacture championships after all these years. And that's something, you can't say about the Celtics and Lakers back in the 60s and 70s. I mean, their league wasn't built for parity, and it just wasn't. I mean, it wasn't 30 teams with this top-down, overbearing structure that was designed to make it as competitive as possible. I mean, in the NFL, every team is designed to go 8-8. It's just the couple bounces that go your way that maybe get you a chance at going to the playoffs. And it just seems like the Patriots have been getting those bounces for 15 straight years now.
And then you always have, in the media, somebody's always racing to be the first one to say, oh, the dynasty's dead. And so they can point back later and be like, oh, I was the one that saw it coming before everybody else. I mean, you had Max Kellerman.
Yeah, don't get me started on Max Kellerman.
Saying that he had Brady as the 5th best QB in
the playoffs.
Max Kellerman's been doubting Brady since Max Kellerman was born.
And then you have Colin Cowherd doing the opposite of that and making this fake narrative that people love dynasties because they're fun to watch. I mean, it's just a scramble to see who can get the best take out of this absurdity that is 15 straight years of Patriots relevance.
Guys, I'm loving the talk, especially Jack. You're getting a lot of love on Periscope, a lot of hearts coming through when you said the NFL's designed for parity.
Well, thank you.
People are not liking it. I want to let you know that. But, hey, let's head to a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk more about maybe the commercials, talk a little bit more about, the game itself and kind of how the NFL is built for that. And kind of, people just didn't like the Super Bowl last night. So you look to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. We'll be back in about 2 minutes here with the Extra Point.